Hey, what's going on, champs? I'm Aaron Deliosa. Welcome to an Immigrant's Life podcast, my podcast about immigrants, immigration, and everything in between. February, guys, second month of the year. How you guys doing? I hope everyone's keeping healthy, staying sane. I know most of us are still in lockdown. Some of us are still in EQ. Some of us are just unsure of life. I hope everyone is staying positive or trying to be positive for the most case. I know sometimes it feels like you're in an ocean and you're just sitting in front of the ocean and waves are just coming at you one after the other, after the other, after the other. But I like to think this way. When I spoke to some soldiers that went through training and they were being fairly, I'll say tortured because they were physically abused, mentally abused, and everything. I asked several of them, and I asked them what was going through your mind while you're going through that hardship. And they said these people doesn't know each other, but they said the same thing. They said it will pass. This will pass. I know that sounds corny. I know that sounds so cliche, but that's what made them go through that hardship. And I think we should apply that philosophy on our life, especially now. Yes, it will pass. It cannot be just always low or high or medium. It will pass. Just whatever you're going through, toughen it out, enjoy life, I know it's hard to be with friends and family, but there are ways. There are Zoom apps that you can use. There's, Facebook, there's social media. This is the time that you can use social media as a positive effect in your life other than the negative part. Because no one's traveling. No one's going to post bikini post at the beach and saying, hey, I love this life or I'm living a great life. No one. Everyone's in the house. I hope so, right? At least. But yeah, so try to be positive. Use that power, use that privilege to connect with your family and friends and other people. All right, enough of the Tony Robbins talk. I know you're not here to listen to my banter or what have you. I know you're here to listen to my guest. But before that, I want to ask a favor from you, especially the ones that listen through Apple Podcasts. If you scroll down on the Apple Podcast, you could see this 5 stars. It's a rating way. I would really appreciate if you could leave a 5-star rating, if you have extra time, you can scroll lower down and you can actually write a review about the podcast. If you're a fan, if I'm even allowed to say that, and if you like listening to the podcast and you want to help out in a way that it could be anonymous, you can leave review. A positive review would be amazing. Negative review, hey, do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. But seriously, Apple Podcast people, help me out here, bro. Okay, right now we have 9 ratings. I would like for that to be at least higher than 9. For the Spotify, I know you cannot do anything, but I appreciate the follows and the downloads and the share. And for the YouTube people, yeah, comment too. That helps. It makes me know that someone's listening, someone cares. All right, I know that you're getting bored now, so let's get to the show. So this episode is about a woman that followed her heart, and I admire her, and she's one of my favorite people in the world. And in this episode, you can tell we are really good friends because we laughed a lot in this episode. And actually, there's a part of this episode that I couldn't stop laughing. It was too funny. So just a heads up, my guest is in Africa, so the connection wasn't that so strong. So there are a bit of few audio drops. I tried to fix it to the best of my ability, but please excuse those parts. Other than that, this is a kick-ass episode, so enjoy. Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Today we have a very, very special guest. She is a writer, a wildlife preservationist, and a social activist. She's as gorgeous as Priyanka Chopra and as big-hearted as Mother Teresa. Everyone, please welcome my friend, Shital Patel.
Oh man, I love it.
Thank you. How's it going on, my man?
My man.
You know I call everyone dude and man.
Are we starting this off sexist?
Hey, is that sexist?
I am doing good. Just chilling here in Nairobi.
I know. Good life here.
Where? In Canada or in Nairobi?
Well, both.
Now mine's better, I think.
Hells yeah, of course yours better.
It's nice and warm. It's summer in December.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's getting cold here, so whatever. I prefer this over, I don't know, starvation, I guess.
Okay, that's dark.
I'm always dark, you know that.
Uh,
All right. First, I want to thank you for your time and pausing your African safaris and to be on the podcast.
You're very welcome.
I want to ask you, when was the last time you went on a safari?
Last weekend.
Good life. God damn.
Uh,
What did you see? What animals did you see?
It was actually a pretty quiet safari. So we went to the Tsavo region, which is kind of like on the southern end of Kenya. What I was hoping to see, because this is one of the only regions in the world that still has tusker elephants, so they look like mammoths. Their trunks are like massive. They weigh like over 100 pounds. I think there's only like 20 left in the world, and half of them are in the Tsavo region of Kenya. But of course, we didn't see any. Like, that's kind of the dream, maybe.
Where are they? Are they hiding in the trees? Where the hell are they hiding?
Well, it's like massive. Like, the land is huge, huge, huge. Like 9,000 kilometers square. We saw a lot of giraffes. Am I allowed to swear on this thing?
Yep.
Okay. We saw a shit ton of giraffes.
I know, man. Your videos. I actually recently saw a video of a giraffe attacking like a car, and I'm like, I hope to God that's not Shital.
You're so paranoid. Everyone, like, people are like, oh my God, is it scary? It's not scary. And once you, like, the first time maybe, but once you've been on these safaris for a while, like, you realize, like, the guides do this every single day of their lives. Like, they're not going to drive you in and have you eaten.
I know.
It's bad for tourism, man. They won't let that happen.
Imagine you get messed up. But listen, like I told you, I'm a 38-year-old man, but inside I'm an old immigrant mom.
Yeah, I realize that.
Hey, I care about you. I like my friends to be around.
I will be okay, I promise.
Good. So you mentioned the elephant. Is that the most impressive animal you've ever seen in the wild?
I mean, they're incredible. Like, seeing the elephants is probably a major highlight. It's something that you'll see over and over and over again. And then there's a park in a national park in Kenya called Amboseli, and that's where you see giant herds with like hundreds of elephants at a time. And so you're sitting in your car and you're just watching like hundreds of elephants just pass by in front of you. And it's incredible, absolutely like breathtaking. So I feel like it's an animal I would never get tired of seeing elephants. But I think what's fun about being on these safaris and having the opportunity to go so often is that you start seeing things like hunts. You start seeing animals like after they've hunted.
You've seen an animal kill another animal?
Close and almost even better. So when COVID happened, like around March, Mark, my husband, and I, like, we got shipped back to Canada. Like, it was just panic mode. They're like, you guys gotta leave. And so we decided last ditch effort to go to the Nairobi National Park, which is like very close to our home. So it's basically a national park in the middle of the city. So we went. We weren't really expecting to see anything. We were like, last ditch effort. Like it might be the last time we ever get to see wildlife. And that day, within the hour, we saw like 4 lionesses. We were just kind of chilling, and then in the distance there were water buffaloes. And then Mark was like, "They're gonna go after it." I was like, "I don't know. We'll see." And so then all of a sudden you see like, and they like coordinated the attack, and then they started like slowly approaching this one water buffalo that was by itself. And just like they ran from a distance from all angles. They jumped this water buffalo. And water buffaloes are extremely hard to take down. Like I think lions need to be kind of desperate to try to take down something so large. So you have a lioness like hanging off the front of the face of this water buffalo. You have other lionesses like just gnawing at its legs, and like it was insane. It was like super thrill. I was like hyperventilating. I was going crazy. But then after like it could take like over an hour to bring down this animal. So we're like sitting there, and you're kind of like, fuck, I want to see this killed. But then you're like, oh, this is so sad. And then so this goes on for like maybe 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden in the distance, you see like a herd of water buffaloes like coming. And they came and they saved the water buffalo that was being attacked. Yeah, it was like, so that's why I mean, like, it's almost better than a kill. So they like came, they surrounded this one water buffalo, and all the lions like ran away. And then they were kind of like facing off, and the water buffaloes were chasing the lions away. It was like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, that's like a Disney story. Without dying.
Dark. Disney dark.
Disney is dark. There's always one dying.
Yeah, I guess so.
But that's amazing. You know what? It's funny that you say that, because I don't know. Every video I see is like there's gonna be like one target animal, and then that got messed up, and no one helps really. Everybody runs. And by the way, I'll be one of those animals that'll be running. Okay, I'm not fighting.
Come on, you got to stick to your own. This is like an inspiring story about community and humanity.
Listen, if there are 4 lions hanging on you, I'm sorry, Shital. I love you, but you got to go.
All right, that's fair.
All right, thank you for that story. But let's leave those animals behind and let's go to the nitty gritty.
Fine.
All right, I know. So where's your family originally from?
My parents are from Gujarat, the western state in India. They came over to Montreal like in the 70s. Probably for the same reason that, you know, most immigrants come, for better life, better opportunities, which of course I'm grateful for, because I'm experiencing the benefits of that move that they did.
Yeah. How old were they, do you remember?
I think my mom was like in her late teens.
Wow, that young, eh?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like, it always blows my mind when I hear stories like that. Like, people.
How old were you when you came? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. I was 20, going 21.
So you're super young too.
Hey, listen, my amazing mom did all the work. All right. She created all the possibilities, and I just jump on like a privileged prick.
Well, that's how it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, after that, I did my own thing, right? But
yeah,
like I tell my mom every day that I'm grateful for her sacrifices. I mean, it's insane what she did.
Do you find like your mom just talks about it like, yeah, whatever, like very casually? Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that's what I did.
Parents do it. We're all like, wow, like how could you do this? Like you moved from your country to another country, you don't know the language, it's a whole different culture. It's really this huge feat, and I think we recognize it for what it is. But our parents are just like, yeah, we came in the 70s. End of story. We're like, okay.
Yeah. For them, it's just like a fact that like that's what I have to do, which is awesome and impressive. But sometimes they forget. Like, sit down, think of what amazing things they did. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But. Yes, but I mean, it's funny because you mentioned that, because people goes to me and ask me about my story, and I tell them the story, and they're like, "What is happening? I don't understand. Is this possible?" And I said, "Yeah, but wait for my parents' story. It'll be worst." or better, or
Exactly.
however you want to see it, right? So you mentioned you're a daughter of an immigrant. You were born in Montreal, obviously.
I was, yeah.
Okay. And how was that growing up as a immigrant's daughter?
Um, I want to say good, but I think like when I look back at my childhood, like I do see how race and ethnicity started playing a role in my life, like from a very young age.
What do you mean?
So, I mean, I grew up and like until grade 2, I grew up in the Côte-de-Neiges area of Montreal. So we lived like in a small apartment. Everyone around us was ethnic. You know, everyone was black, brown. We had Indians, Sri Lankans, Trinidadians, Guyanese. Like everyone was colored, and you know, my cousins lived close by. Some of my closest friends, even to this day, lived a few blocks away. So it was really a community setting, I think. And I think for my parents too. Like, I mean, I was too young to realize like it was a community setting, but for my parents, for sure, they felt it. Like, to be a new immigrant, it means something to have your people around you, to have that sense of community, to have that connection, which you know I think all of us need, right?
Yeah, we need that, and it helps a lot. Like the more I do this podcast, is the more it shows up that if you move to a different country, find community. That's the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like not just for immigrants, I think even for children of immigrants, it's really, for me especially, it's been really important to have my friends who are the same ethnicity as me, have the same background. So I mean, so when I was in grade 2, after you know living in this sort of community in an area where everyone is ethnic, I moved into another area. My parents wanted to move to a bigger house, and so I changed schools. And all of a sudden, I was in a school with mostly white kids, and I was the only, I think, probably one of 2 Indian kids, and then a handful of black kids or handful of ethnic kids. And yeah, like, and I think at that point I started feeling it that I was ethnically different. Because I think at that age, like I guess 7, 8, like that's when kids start becoming assholes also.
I mean, kids are always assholes.
Yeah, but sometimes they get like really mean assholes, I think, at that age. So I mean, I would get made fun of for the food I'd bring to school. I'd get made fun of because, yeah, can you relate? I would get made fun of because I was like crazy hairy, and now it's like, yeah, man, like people are hairy. It's part of being brown. Who cares?
I know.
Fuck off.
Yeah. You know that joke by Russell Peters?
Yeah.
About jokes about Indians?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to put you in the hottest part of the world, and I'm going to make you the hairiest person in the world.
And cover you with hair, like a joke on practice. Yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, whatever. Like, now as an adult, I'm like, hey, whatever, who cares? But yeah, kids were mean. They would like straight up be racist, like call me tacky and make fun of me. So, like, you're laughing, but it's like super traumatic.
I know, but listen, I went through traumatic childhood too, right? But I can't help but laugh because what are you gonna do?
You do.
Right? But I'm sorry for laughing.
No, you can laugh. It is. It's funny. Like, now you can look back and laugh and be like, holy crap, right? But I mean, these things are traumatic, and it does shape how you feel about yourself and how you feel as an ethnic person in a predominantly white place.
For sure. And
yeah,
as you mentioned this to me, and I'd like to ask you, was your name ever be a problem growing up?
Absolutely. It's actually a problem up until this day. So
Is it?
You call me Shital, but my name is actually Shital.
Shital?
Shital. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember when we met, and I was like, you were saying something about your name and make people saying it like in a weird, in a shitty way. No pun intended.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's wrong with these people? It's Shital, but there's nothing else, right? It is what it is. But yeah, was it ever a problem?
No, I mean, it is well, it's a problem because one, most people can't pronounce my name. So my name's pronounced Shital. But then there's lots of Indians that pronounce the H, so they'll call me Shital. Then I have my English name. Like I anglicized my name because nobody can say it, like at a very young age, which also plays into what I was talking about. So then I became Shital, which I'm very used to. And then growing up in Quebec, I had a French name. It was Shital.
I like that one better.
No, I hate it.
Why?
And then, okay, so then I would get, people would just not get my name. So they'd be like, Chantal? Like, no, my name's not Chantal. I'm an Indian girl. I'm not Chantal. Like, stop it.
There's no N. I don't know. Oh, my God.
Yeah, Chantal. And then, so I mean, to non-Indians, I would always say that my name is Shital. But when I moved out here, my husband's wife, and so when he introduces me, my wife, Shital, so he says my name the way it's supposed to be said. So he introduces me to other non-Indians as Shital. So now all the non-Indians that I know in Nairobi call me like Shital or Shital or like some variation of my name. So yeah, my name's been the bane of my existence.
Have you ever thought of changing it?
No.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. I like that you, even it's like a bane of your life, you still continue
if I have a kid, I'm gonna give them the most messed up name ever, just so they know the pain and the struggle. Like all of my friends give their kids all these really gorgeous, nice names, both Indian and English. I'm just gonna give them straight up the most hardcore Indian names I can think of.
It's like that song, The Boy Named Sue.
What's that?
It's a Johnny Cash song, and the dad named the son Sue,
okay,
which is a woman's name, right? So entire whole life he always gets into fight, and then the whole time the son is mad at the dad, and he's been looking for the dad to kill him. And at the end of the song, he met his dad.
Okay.
And they got into a fight, and what the hell, man? Why did you name me Sue? And the dad's like, well, if I didn't name you Sue, you will be weak. And the son's like, all right, makes sense, but I'll still kill you anyway.
Shit. Okay.
Actually, that was written. A lot of people doesn't know that's written by Shel Silverstein.
Okay.
You know him?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's the one that wrote The Giving Tree.
Okay, I've not read it.
It's a children's story book about a tree giving everything to this kid, and then in the end, the kid is it's pretty much the story about parenthood.
Okay.
So for the listeners that are parents, I really advise for you to buy that book and read it to your kids. If you love your kids. If you don't, just buy it anyway and hit the kids with it. Speaking of getting hit, did you get hit?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about.
You don't have to go in details.
No. I probably got spanked as a child, like a proper normal spanking.
Proper.
But yeah,
spanking.
it's part of being ethnic.
Yeah, I know. That's why I ask you.
Yeah, white people are horrified, but it's no. My friends got beat. My cousins got beat. Everyone got beat.
Everybody got beat, dude.
The degree of beats was different, probably for most people. Like I said, I probably just got spanked, but yeah, it's just part of being an ethnic kid. It keeps you in line.
Keeps it in line.
Wait, so do you? I don't. This is a fucked up conversation. Do you spank your children?
No, actually no. Because dude,
no.
I mean, I didn't get spanked. I get tortured.
Oh man.
No, I'm joking. I mean, yeah, there were parts that I'm pretty sure this is child abuse. But like you said, I understood why they did it. As I got older, as I having kids, I understand why they did it. But to go back to your question, no, I don't hit my kids. I mean, I wrap them up a little bit, what the grab them hey, get your shit together. But yeah. I don't really.
Even if you did beat your kids, you wouldn't admit it on this podcast.
I will actually. I don't care. I mean, I'm a type of parents that I talk to my kids like I talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Like I don't do like, hey baby, how are you today? I don't do that shit, dude. I'll talk to them like sometimes I call them bro, you know?
Oh
Like, hey
man.
bro, come on man, get your shit together. You know?
Okay.
Because I feel like if I'm honest with them, if I see them like I talk to them like essentially equal, they'll respect me
Yeah.
more, you know? But I always remind them like, hey, we're not friends. I'm your dad. All right?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's important. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, so I don't hit my kid. I yeah, once in a while I swear at them. I don't swear at them. I swear, but I don't swear at them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm a dad.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? All right. That's the mom's job. So I yell at them, and then they go to the mom, and the mom's like, "Oh, baby,
Oh, that's
what?
sexist again.
Why is it sexist again?" That's what the men does. We challenge the kids, and you guys make sure they're amazing people,
Any
amazing kids.
any sentence that starts with "that's what the man does" is cause for concern.
Listen, you know I love women more than men. Most of my friends are women, to be honest.
Oh,
I get along
God.
with I get along with women more than men because I was raised by women.
Okay.
But I am a little bit sexist, all right?
Oh God. Okay.
I'm joking, I'm
Let's
joking.
let's let's move on from this.
All right, so let's talk about have
I mean,
you
I wanted to tell you actually. I mean, I told you a little bit about like my experience in elementary school, but I wanted to tell you about my experience in high school.
yes, please.
Yeah. So I mean, when I entered high school, it was like this huge flip because there were so many Indian students. Like, so like if anyone's listening from Montreal and they know LHA, they'll know what I'm talking about. So, after all this experience as a child, like feeling like really starting to feel like a minority, like when you get back amongst your peers, amongst people that are, your that are Indian and ethnic and kind of know the experience, all of a sudden, like it doesn't feel like you're like this black sheep. No pun intended. Yeah, there's just like an ease and confidence around being around my friends who were my friends from when I was a kid. People who understand what it's like to grow up with ethnic parents, and to have that other life at home. So one of the funny stories from my high school is that there were so many Indians, so many Patels actually. So the same last name as me. So like when it would be photo day, they would call down everyone by last name. So everyone with the last name A, please come down to the gymnasium or wherever we were taking photos. And then it would be like, everyone with the last name P except the Patels come down. Then it'd be like, only the Patels come down.
How many Patels are there?
There were tons of Patels.
Oh yeah.
Tons. So yeah, I think like in high school there was like this huge shift, like going back to connecting with my Indian friends again. So that was cool. I think that helped. That helped a lot.
Help to find yourself.
I think helped to make me feel more comfortable and understood. And I think that's really important in your teen years, especially, right? Like we're all kind of lost at that age. So being around those friends was really important.
Did you have any like ethnic friends, like a white person or black person, like
Yes, I did.
like good
I did.
friends, like in your
Like,
group?
in my immediate group, we were all Indian, but I did have friends like outside of my group, of other nationalities. But like my close knit group was my Indian friends, and they still are. So like our parents are friends. We've known each other since we were like born, or since we were like small children. We're still friends now. Like, so it's like a built-in family, really.
That's cool. I like that
Yeah.
because that sometimes it's cool to be with your people, but sometimes
Yeah.
people forget that like, oh, there are other ethnicities, and
Yeah.
it stops you from understanding the other point of view.
Yes, that
Right?
is absolutely correct. And yeah, I mean, I think like our group of friends is so close knit, but I've always made it a point to have friends outside of that group that were not Indian. And also, I learned that because I mean, I love traveling, as you know. So I've like all throughout my 20s, like anytime I had free time, like I was off traveling. Like I've been to like over 30 something countries, and you meet people from other cultures. You meet people who live different lives, people who have different values, and that really expands your mind from your like little close knit group of friends of like, people who know you. So I think it's super important to kind of have a balance between both.
For sure, for sure. I know when you told me like you used to travel alone, I'm like, this isn't like dangerous. Like I'm worried about you.
Oh my
Like
God,
the story
being
of
immigrant mom again. Stop it.
hey, listen, okay, leave me alone, all right? Like that story. Can you tell that story when you went to what was that? India? No, not India. Vietnam. Was it Vietnam?
Yeah.
When you met this lady.
Okay, so I'm in Vietnam. I'm in Hoi An. I'm on this trip backpacking for a few months, and that day I didn't really have much to do, and so I was just kind of walking around and exploring. And there was this like little Vietnamese lady. She like rides up next to me on her bicycle, and she's like, hey, like, do you want to see my shop? And I was like, oh, okay, like, is it around here? And she's like, yeah, it's just here. I was like, okay, so thinking like I would walk there. She's like, no, get on my bicycle. So I like got on the back of her
Wait,
bicycle.
what do you mean? Oh yeah, like there's like a step thing in the back.
I don't know, but it's like a regular bicycle, and I like was like, what's it called, double Dutch? Anyway, so I'm riding like on the back of her bicycle with this little tiny Vietnamese lady, and I was like, where the F are we going right now? She's like, yeah, it's just there, like as if it's like a block away, and then like we're riding on her bicycle for like 5 minutes, and she brings me into this like clothing shop.
So it was safe.
I think when I told you were freaking out, I was like, yo, it's a bicycle. Like worst case scenario, I just jump off.
Shital, I'm from the Philippines. I've heard stories, okay?
Oh
Like,
man.
oh yeah, come on my bicycle. Let's gonna go. And actually, funny enough, is I just recently watched again the movie Taken with my kids.
No.
Like that. So
See, I don't watch stuff like that. So
I
like
know.
I'm not about like that fear mindset of like thinking about all the things that could go wrong when you're traveling. Like I hate like when I told people I went backpacking after like 3 months because the company that I was working at got sold, so everyone got laid off. And I was like, sweet, this is my chance to go travel. And so when I was saying my goodbyes and saying goodbye to people, a lot of people are just like, oh well, be careful, you know, this person went and someone put drugs in their bag and this happened and that happened, and people just want to scare you and keep you stuck.
That's true.
I think people are so afraid of getting out there and pushing their boundaries and doing things, and instead of saying like, what are the amazing things and the amazing benefits you can get from having these experiences versus all the terrible things that are going to happen. You're going to be decapitated and like abused, and no one's ever going to find you. Yes, these things happen, but use your brain, be smart.
Don't jump on some lady's bike.
Shit, that bit me in the ass.
But no, obviously you're correct. I watched the movie Taken because of the action part. Other than that, like, hey, that's one thing I tell my kids, like, hey, when you get older, I would like you to travel. I would like you to, see the world. Because I remember, like, last year, I say this all the time, but whatever. Like, when I went back to the Philippines with them, and so I brought them there. I said, hey, this is where I grew up. These guys ended up loving the slum. So they stayed there the whole time.
That's awesome.
Like on a whole month, I didn't see them for like 3 weeks.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean,
how old were they when you took them?
Just last year. Yeah, just last year.
Oh, okay.
So, and funny thing is, at the end, they were crying. They're like, they didn't want to leave. They're like, why can't we stay here? I was like, well, because our lives are in Montreal. And then they're like, they're so smart, man. They love it. They really wanted to stay. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
They go, as soon as I say that, like our lives are in Montreal, they say, why not we stay here and you and mommy go back to Montreal and then you send us money?
Nice.
They came up with these crazy plans. I'm like, when did
That's
you guys start
awesome.
thinking of this? Like, but the funny thing is, it made me enjoy the experience more.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I love that they love where I'm from.
Exactly.
Obviously they don't understand the gravity of the situation, but at
Yeah.
least they appreciate it. And I funny one time, actually, there was a part of I grew up in the area, so I kind of have an idea where to go and like small
Mhm.
alleys and whatever. They brought me to this alley, which I grew up going through. But
Yeah.
I'm from Canada now. I'm soft now, right? I'm not like that. And they're like walking, and it's actually one of my cousin's house, which is, I'm not being, it's dilapidated. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of mosquitoes, and and they wanted to sleep there.
Oh wow.
They're like, "Can we sleep here?" I'm like, "I don't want you catching dengue, to be honest." But I love that they're willing to do that. They're like,
Yeah, but it's incredible. Like I don't think kids see things the way we do. We're like, oh, this is dirty. Oh, I don't
mm,
want to sleep here. Oh, this is not like pretty and shiny and new. Like it's just they want to have fun.
I
They
agree,
want
I
to
agree.
play. They want to enjoy. And I totally relate to the story that you're telling because when I was 6 years old, my brother was probably 10, 11 years old. We went to India and it was the same thing. Like we were in the village, and I think, and my brother still tells stories about this time. Like loved it. We
Mm,
loved it. Like we were just kind of like everyone. You can go to anyone's house. You can walk into their house. Like
mm.
the whole street, the whole neighborhood. Like you're a big family, a big community. You run around with the kids of the village. Um, you go sit at someone else's dinner table. Like it's
Yeah,
this
you don't
really
even
strong.
know.
Yeah, like you're just like, oh yeah, this must be my uncle. You go and you sit down and you have dinner with someone's family. Like it's just you run around barefoot. Like it's just really freedom. It's
Hmm.
freedom. It's safety. It's this like sense of community. It's a sense of family. It's lovely, and I think that's probably what kids pick up on.
Yeah, they pretty much like that. That they pretty much that like they felt welcome as much, even though they don't speak the language. But that
Yeah.
didn't matter. They had friends. It was funny because we're actually one time we're walking, and they were like saying hi to everyone. Like, hey, what's up, man? And they're calling their names, not just like saying
Yeah.
hi. And I'm like, when did you guys meet these people? I'm like, oh, hanging out here. I'm like, this was me when I was growing up here. I say hi to everyone. Now I don't know nobody. But I just loved seeing that. And I love that you had that same experience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But let's go back to you growing up a little bit.
Okay.
Did you have dual identity crisis?
Yes.
And how was that?
Yeah. Um, I think most ethnic kids kind of have that. This like sort of persona that you have out in the world, in school and at work, or um, with your non-ethnic friends, where you're kind of conforming to what society is, and then at home it's like completely different. Like your parents have a whole different set of values than your non-Indian friends or your non-ethnic friends do. You have certain obligations.
Hmm.
Your parents expect certain things of you. Um, you're I don't know if I said this already, but like you're brought up with different values, I
Hmm.
think. Um, so I mean, I'm trying to think of some examples.
Like, did you have like times that like, oh, I don't want to be Indian. I don't want to be associated with them.
When I was younger, yes.
Mm.
Um, because my parents were strict. My parents, like, yeah, it's okay. Here's a good example. Like when I switched to that other school and all these kids, like they were my friends and they were having sleepovers and be like, hey, Shital, do you want to come to a sleepover? And my parents were like, hell no, you're not going to a sleepover at some stranger's house. Are you kidding me? Like,
That's
and I
funny.
think ethnic people can relate to this.
Hmm.
You're saying, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Why do you think is
Um,
that?
they're protective. They want to protect their kids. Like
Yeah, but
you don't go you
all
don't
parents does that.
but yeah, but you don't you just don't go stay at someone's house that's not your family. You just don't do it.
Yeah, I
Not a thing.
understand. Yeah, I know. I understand. Like, you know, you don't. Do you think that's fear of? Do you think that's xenophobia somehow?
No.
Like, I mean, your friends were. You said they were Indians, right?
No, these were like my white friends.
Oh, okay, exactly.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Do you think if they were Indians, they would allow you to sleep over?
No. No.
Same. Okay.
Only with my cousins. That's it.
All right, I understand that.
Yeah, yeah. Only with family life. So things like silly things like that. Just what else? I mean, this is when I was older, but there's a lot of expectation to settle down, to get married, to have a family. Like you gotta get that degree, you gotta get married, you gotta have children. Like you have to follow this very predetermined life.
Yeah, the formula.
And it's kind of like it's like nailed into our heads since we were young. Like like when you get married, it's not if you get married, it's when you get married. And so I think I had this like dual identity in the sense that like I wanted to please my family. I wanted to be the quote unquote good Indian girl, but at the same time, I wanted to do things that other people weren't doing. Like I didn't want to get married right away. I didn't want to settle down and have a family. I'm almost 35. I don't have kids.
Don't have kids.
That's another topic. Instead of like settling down and getting that job, like I wanted to go travel. Even now, like it's always been my dream to live abroad, and I get to live my dream of living in that. So I think in that sense, like I did get married, I did settle down. I did get an accounting degree, but I think
why are you
these are all
laughing at the
things that,
accounting degree?
I'm laughing at the accounting thing because I didn't want to be an accountant. So here's another example of like that dual identity thing. Like there was this like expectation to get a good degree. Like ethnic parents, you don't get like arts degrees and design degrees, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a designer, and you don't do those things. You become an accountant, you become a lawyer, you become a doctor, you become those things that like you will have a job forever. You will be safe because, and I understand why. Like our family and our parents went through everything they went through. Like not for us to freaking throw it away, right? So
hey, I didn't cross the Pacific for you to just start drawing stuff on the wall. All right.
So yeah, I think in those sorts of, I mean, I'm sure we can go more in detail about this. But this is what I got for now.
I understand.
Yeah.
I like that you said that you wanted to be a designer, and I just want to do a special shout out to you because for the listeners, Shital is the one who designed the logo of An Immigrant's Life. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's fun.
How many did you give me? Like I think it was like 9, eh?
Yeah, I know. I like got in the zone and I just made you like 10 different logos and I was like, choose one.
Yeah, thank you. They're all beautiful.
Cool.
I ran it through some friends and that was like the one. But to be honest, when I saw that, I was like, this is it. This one here.
Yeah, I really like it. I like that like fingerprints. Kind of talks about identity, which all immigrants and ethnic minorities deal with.
I love it.
Have their identity. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Speaking of being married, so you mentioned that your husband is ethnically, it's not even ethnic, he's white.
No, he's not ethnic. He's white, yeah.
But
so naturally, after all those white kids being racist to me, I went and I married a white man.
You're like Pocahontas.
No. He's wonderful. He's the best guy in the world.
Yes. He's all right. Yeah, he's awesome. But where did you guys meet?
Online.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so millennial.
very. It's where you meet people now. Yeah, we met online and we dated for a little bit. And then after we started dating, he found out that he was moving to Nairobi for work. So after a year of us dating, we started doing long distance, like legit long distance, Nairobi to Montreal. So we did that for like a year and a half. And now I moved back in 2019, at the beginning of 2019, I came over here to Nairobi, and then I came back to Montreal for a few months to get married, and then I've been here since, minus the little COVID. But yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and speaking of being a good Indian girl, did your parents want you to marry an Indian man instead? Was that an issue?
I think the messaging when I was younger was that, but it was not an issue. It was a non-issue, which is great because I think just in that decade or so much changed in terms of being open-minded and realizing hey, your kid doesn't have to marry someone within the same culture. There are good, decent men, and my parents and my family, and I think my whole community loves Mark.
He's a good-looking son of a gun.
I was
that
gonna
helps.
say I'm he's very good-looking, so that helps. So yeah, I think it's great. It was not a big deal, and they met him, and they like him, and Mark was, just very kind and open-hearted, and he wanted to learn, and he wanted to please my family, and so, even during we had a Hindu wedding, and so he was just the best sport about learning the traditions and doing all the Hindu rituals, and honestly, he just looks like a better Indian than me. He was a pro. He was an absolute pro.
Yeah, he's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So obviously, you guys in a mixed marriage.
Yeah.
You both grew up being quote unquote Canadians, but different background. Has it ever been an issue between the two of you?
I wouldn't say it's an issue. Like I said, I think everything, me going into his family was just normal because I was already accustomed to North American culture and life. But him coming into my family, I think he had to learn just a little bit about our traditions, about holidays, about food, things like that. But it was never an issue, it was just a bit of a learning curve. The challenging bit of us having different ethnicities, and it's not even a challenge, it's just kind of something funny, is that sometimes he doesn't understand how funny it is to be immigrant and the child of an immigrant. Because it's funny. I feel there's just so many nuances to being ethnic. It's when we were young, and we me and my friends would go out clubbing, we had to make sure that our clothes didn't smell because our parents were cooking. So this is just universal. We all knew this, you're trying not to smell the food that your parents are cooking. Another ethnic thing is your parents show up at the airport 6 hours before their flight.
Excuse me, that's me, all right?
Yeah, exactly. So much anxiety about missing this flight. Just like I said, nuances. There's always going to be these aunties and uncles that are up in your business and saying inappropriate things. And there's just stuff about our culture, stuff that unless you're in it, unless you grew up with it, you don't understand how funny it is. Also, Gujarati is an extremely funny language. There's a lot of funny sayings and expressions and things like that. So my cousins and I are always laughing about these things, but it's not something that Mark would have. I explain it to him, but it's not the same.
They won't translate.
So I think in that sense, it doesn't translate.
That happens to me with my wife too. So when we're just dating, so I try to I'm pretty all right with translating, and I translate it as much as I can. But now I'm if they made a joke and it's really a Filipino joke, you know what I say? Yeah. It's a Filipino joke. You won't get it.
Yeah. No, it is. I think it's just best left like that because it doesn't translate. It's not funny when you translate it.
Exactly. It's like that's the soul of the joke is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that I just wanted to tell you this funny story, which is I don't know if Filipinos do something like this, but like so when we go to like our relatives' homes, so like and we haven't seen them in a while or something, the aunties and uncles, they're like, and when you're leaving, the aunties and uncles are always giving you money, like the
Yeah.
kids.
Hells
Like,
yeah.
oh, you guys do it too?
Hells
Okay, I
yeah,
love it.
dude.
And then you're like, and then like as a kid, you're like panicking, you're saying, no, it's okay, like I'm big now. And then your parents are like, why are you giving them money? They don't need money. And there's this like huge like commotion, and the auntie's like, no, I'm your auntie, like you have to take this money. And then you're like panicked because you're like, eventually you're gonna take the money.
Mhm.
And then and then after this like back and forth, your parents like, okay, you can take it. And it's like every time it's just funny things like that are
Yeah.
so like, yeah. So you guys do that too?
Hells yeah, dude. I love it. I love dropping. I do it now. I drop some money on the side, you know? And I'm like, don't tell nobody. Because you're going to get in trouble. I don't want him getting in trouble, but I want him to get the money,
That's funny.
right? But now most of my nephews and nieces are getting older, so I just send it to their
Oh,
account.
yeah.
So
Then you can't.
like I mentioned to a nephew of mine, I said he wanted something. I said, you know the rules. Just buy it. I'll send you the money.
Oh, that's nice.
But I'm not going to the store to buy it for you, okay? But I love that you share that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like just the nuances of being part of this culture. Just funny little things like that.
Yeah. I want to ask you, I don't know if it's so in my culture, in Filipino culture, it doesn't matter your weight. Like you can be fat, you can be skinny. Actually, they don't like skinny. They like fat.
Okay.
So let's say I started dating someone, right?
Yeah.
And that person start losing weight, let's say, because she's taking care of herself, exercising and everything. My aunts and
Okay.
my uncles will get mad at me because they'll think, oh, you're not feeding her well.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
taking. Does that
Exactly.
happen in Indian too?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not like. But I feel like it's more the other way around. Like if your son, like I feel like it's always pinned on the women. Like you're not feeding them enough.
Yes. Well, because unfortunately, women are the cooks, right?
Yes, traditionally.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but
Yeah.
that's one thing I'm proud about being Filipino. We're not sexist at all. We
Yeah.
don't care if
Okay.
you're male or female. Can you do the job? Yes. Okay, do the job. You know. But I mean, yes, we have specific jobs that are women centric, and there are some male eccentric. And we don't look at it like, oh, you're doing that, you're lower than me. I'm doing this, you're lower than me.
Okay.
It's just like that's your job. This is my job. That's it. But if you lose weight, they will make a comment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's like no shame in talking about that.
No, not
But
at
it's not
all.
meant like I feel like it's not meant the same way that in North America, like you start commenting about people's weight. Like I don't think like the stigma around like the way your body looks is the same overseas as it is in Canada. So yeah, they're just shameless. Like you're skinny, they're gonna tell you. You're gaining weight, they're gonna tell you. Like,
Yeah.
all right,
But the
can't
funny
wait.
thing about gaining weight, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. When I started dating my wife, I told her this. I said, "Hey,
Okay.
in my culture, we do this, but that doesn't mean anything. It is a comment. That's it. It's not to hurt you or anything." So we went to my mom's, and I walk in, and my wife walk in. Well, eventually became my wife. My aunt goes up to her and she's like, "Oh, you're fat now."
Oh shit! That's horrible. Oh no.
But she wasn't. I mean, I don't know because she hasn't seen her for a while. I don't know. So I look at her just to make sure, like, is she okay? Was she
Yeah.
offended? She seems okay. But the funny thing is, as soon as my aunt says that, she goes, "Did you guys eat?" Like, and then they'll shove food to you, and then call you
Uh,
fat.
yeah. Yeah.
Does that Indian do
I,
that too?
yeah. It's very similar. I feel like yeah, like they don't mean anything by it, but also like it's time to wake up and realize you can't just talk about people's bodies.
But these are like these are immigrants that are older immigrants.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like us,
I,
like you and I, we won't say that.
no, we
You
wouldn't
know,
say that. Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're, um, they're trying to hurt someone. It's just that's the culture
They're
is.
they're just savage, man. Tell
Exactly.
it like it is.
They do. They don't care. Oh yeah, okay. Well, you're fat now. Eat more.
Well, I so I live in Nairobi and I have a housekeeper, and then one day she looked at me and she's like, "Oh, you've gotten big." I was like, "No, don't say that." Oh man. And it was like just like the most innocent comment ever. Like she did not mean anything by it. Like
Exactly.
she would never say anything to hurt me. I was just laughing. I was like, that's how it is.
How did you feel like when she said that?
I was like, yeah, I did. I gained some weight. I've been having fun here, but good life.
That's awesome, man. So you mentioned you're now in Kenya. Do you like
Yeah.
Kenya compared to Montreal?
I love it. I do. I love it.
Yeah, why?
I mean, I can say that because I've come here and I'm in a very privileged position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the country obviously has a lot of social issues and poverty and hunger and all these horrible things, but it's also a really beautiful country. Like the wildlife is out of this world. Like it's lush, it's green, the people are kind. Like, and being here personally for me has been like this very freeing experience. It's been this great like life lesson, and like, I mean, in regards to race and ethnicity, like what we've been talking about, like it's been a freeing experience for me because I'm here in this country that's predominantly Black, and I'm in a country where there are, I don't know if you know this, but there's a huge Gujarati population in Kenya. So, you know, like I'd be out and about and like every single day I overhear people talking in Gujarati.
Oh yeah.
Like I would, like, it's crazy. I would never experience this back home, you know, like where you're like, oh, I'm just a part of the fabric of the life here. Like I'm not an ethnic minority. Mark's the ethnic minority. But like, right? Like he's the visible minority, not me, which is nice.
It's nice to be.
It's nice. It feels like you belong. It feels like a place where I belong. So like even there's like Diwali just passed, which is like a huge celebration for Hindus.
Oh, happy
And,
Diwali, by the way.
Thank you. And so, I mean, you'd be driving around Nairobi and there's huge billboards for Diwali.
No
Imagine
way.
that in Montreal.
Oh, no.
Exactly. So, like, you see Diwali stuff, and then, like, you go to the grocery store and you got Indian sweets in the display.
That's awesome.
You go to restaurants, there's always Indian food on the menu. Like, you'll go to, like, the most pretty hipster place ever, and there'll be an Indian dish. You go on safaris, they're serving you Indian food. So, like, I really feel like I feel at home here. I feel connected. It's nice to not feel like I'm different.
I'm happy for you because, and yes, I can attest to that because you're more calm. I remember, I remember when you were here and you're always like, I'm like, bro, chillax, everything's good. But you're like, I was so scared of you.
Way to paint the picture of me.
I mean, like, hey, I just gave you a compliment, okay? Like you're more calm now. You're like, yeah, man, everything's awesome.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I feel like you found your place, you know? Other than going to safaris, what have you been doing to keep yourself occupied in Kenya?
So I've been volunteering with a small charitable organization here called the Nancy Ellen Crooks Foundation. And it's a fantastic little charity that works in three main projects, really. So they have a Lights for Learning program. So they're distributing solar lights to rural areas in Kenya that don't have electricity. So specifically to children. So, I mean, we live very close to the equator. So 6 p.m., it's pretty much dark here. So imagine these kids come home from school, from a long day of school, and it's 6 o'clock, and then they can't study.
Mm-hmm.
They're using like kerosene lanterns or cooking fire or other like really unsafe methods of lighting. So like a simple solar lamp solves this problem for them, which is like amazing. So it's like helps them study, it helps them focus, helps them perform better in school. And I really, really love that program. So we're actually fundraising for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
The other two projects that the organization works on is building playgrounds for children. Like it's something that in North America you just take for granted. Like I think with COVID, oh, my kids can't go to the playground. Like, there's no playgrounds here for everybody to play on. They're like busted up and broken. Like it's just stuff you take for granted. And so, going into these communities and either community playgrounds or playgrounds in prisons, because when women go to prison here in Kenya, if they have children under the age of 5, the children also end up living in the prison. So we're trying to it's pretty grim, but we're trying to at least help the children that are there with access to playgrounds and learning and all the skills that come with that. And then our last program is the Gardens program. So teaching kids how to grow food and be sustainable in that regard.
They're from Kenya. They know that already. That's what they do for a living.
No, they don't. Don't say that.
I'm joking.
You can edit that part out.
But yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah, no. So yeah, we're really helping. So I've been like doing a lot of, I don't know. I just like ended up getting really just into it and working on the day-to-day and working on a lot of marketing efforts and fundraising efforts for them. So it's been a really rewarding, fantastic experience.
Yeah. Do you think that makes you enjoy Kenya more?
Absolutely. I feel like we've come here and we have this great life and we're very fortunate and we get to travel often and see the world, see the country. But it also feels good to be able to contribute and help and do something good while I'm here. Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I love it.
Yeah, when I release the episode, I'm going to include the link of the foundation.
Yay. Awesome.
The small thing I can do, I don't have money, so I'm not going to send anything.
Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Hey, you're welcome. How do you think immigration changed you as a person?
Like my parents' immigration?
You have become an immigrant.
Well, I don't think I'm an immigrant. I'm not here permanently. I know, but like, what's your definition of immigration?
A person that lives in a different country.
Not necessarily. I feel like it's different. Like my parents coming to Canada or your parents or you yourself coming to Canada and settling down, making a life is very different than me being posted here as in a diplomatic role, as like part of my husband's a government employee. Like it's different, right? Like it doesn't come with the same, what's the word I'm looking for?
Don't look at me. You're smarter than me.
It doesn't carry the same weight.
I get it.
Yeah. And I'm not here permanently. We're here on a posting. So we'll come home soon. I think the experience has changed me in the sense that like it's made, like I said, it's been a really great life lesson, and it's been really good for just my soul to be here and be connected to this land and to this life and to see the country and see the issues and be grateful. Like I said, like at the beginning of our chat, like I'm grateful for my parents to come to Canada and give me these opportunities so that I could be here doing these amazing things that I'm doing.
Amen. I mean, thank you for their sacrifices as always,
Of course.
Do you have any questions? Any topic that you'd like to talk about that we haven't talked about?
No.
You good?
I think we can save any other conversation for another podcast.
For sure.
You're willing to have me back?
Of course. I'd love to have you back. Reason to talk and talk shit about anything.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah. We got it all?
Yep. Great to catch up with you.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I want to thank you for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Thank you, and have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Again, Shital, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you, listeners, for listening. This is Aaron Deliosa for An Immigrant's Life. See you guys later.